Hey everyone, welcome back to the Not Just Politics podcast. The following is a conversation with Samantha Hindman. She is a senior multimedia major at Point Park, a freelance writer, and an aspiring LinkedIn influencer. This one's a little all over the place. We sat down for our first full-length conversation together. We talked about the state of the world and everything that entails. This was a fun episode. I'm very grateful for her and her time, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Okay. No, but I'm tired of giving Point Park a free plug on this show, so I don't show the put the pillows in there. Sometimes I do.
Hide them.
Sometimes I do. Yeah, no, I want to do an April Fool's skit that we just record. I want to do it, and I didn't talk to you about this yet, but I'm just gonna say it. And if we don't do it, that'll be even funnier because then it's just like I do that all the time. I just make claims on the mic, and then half of them don't happen, and that's okay. But I want to go into Kyle Archer's office.
Yeah.
Because he's a green screen. I want to sit down. I want to throw my Point Park hoodie in the dirt real quick. Not to slander them. This is going somewhere. I want to do
diploma, zero diploma.
I want to do like a 5-minute. I want to do like a 5-minute skit that is just like surviving the apocalypse at Point. And it's just me and Kyle Archer. Like just scraping together a podcast set while the green screen will just be like a picture of like Pittsburgh that's just been completely leveled. And I can't do this, but I wanted the green screen to be a picture of Pittsburgh just leveled, except for Point Park, and have Point Park still be there. and then just riff for 5 minutes with Kyle about how it's the end of the world, but they're still making us like go to class.
Oh yeah.
And like finals week are still happening, and there's just chaos in the streets.
The professor's still not getting paid, by the way.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely not. They're not getting paid.
Nope.
No, I mean, I do. I don't know. I just kind of, I voice my complaints a lot, I guess.
As you should,
voice my complaints. I jokingly said it would be hilarious if when Brusalis came in here, he brought like receipts. He was like, on this episode at this time, you said this. And just like, just torched me, just went scorched earth on my show.
Yeah.
Just never do another episode. No one cares. I don't know how far can I don't know what I can do before people are going to get angry.
Maybe you should test it.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried. I mean,
what do you think is the worst thing you've said? Reiterate it now.
Well, not the worst thing that I've said. I mean, I don't think I've said anything crazy, but like the people that I've had on the show, like how far can I go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I see what
no
you're
one
saying.
seems to care. I've gotten not one angry I've gotten nothing.
Well, that's like one of the good things about Point Park is like they don't care enough. You know,
no,
for
they don't.
you to be able to like.
I think they don't care enough because I've said this before. There's like a crazy hustle culture at this school.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has time to care.
No.
Which is also fine. No one has time to.
Not.
They don't have time to care.
Nope.
So I guess I can just kind of do. You know, I want to get Hunter Biden on here.
Yeah.
He's on my guest list.
Yeah.
I do. Because I don't care where you are politically. He's fucking cool. He's awesome, dude. No one can you find me another person that has a video of them driving 170 miles an hour through the city of Las Vegas while smoking crack.
No.
And he's fine. He's fine. So he's kind of like a role model for me.
Yeah.
And I want him on the show.
Living life on the edge.
Well, so I was talking to the people at UView for the 2024 election show.
Yeah.
And they want me to interview some people, and he was on my list that I gave.
Nice.
Addison. I gave her a list. I wanted. This is my guest list. I wanted Nelk.
Okay.
I want Hunter Biden, and then Candace Owens is that's, and then that's rounded off,
course,
and then I want them all on the show together. That's my list.
Nightmare blunt rotation.
Nightmare blunt rotation. But that's what I've done. Okay, and I guess now that I don't even know what I've said in the last 4 minutes, but Samantha Hindman is here with us. You do everything.
I try. You know, I really do.
What do you do? Tell everyone what you do.
All right, so Point Park wise, I'm a senior multimedia major. I'm about to graduate in this coming April. Is it late April that we graduate?
I mean, so they don't tell us.
They don't tell us. It's a mystery. Sometime soon, I'll be out of here. That's the bottom line. They're making me take a dance history class as an elective, and I hate it because it's like all dance majors because I think it's like a requirement for them.
Yeah.
And they were like, you need one more elective if you want to get out of here. And that was like the only one left. I was be serious.
I mean, Jesus, can we just, I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you think that electives should be required for college students?
I don't. I think that like major electives make sense. Like,
Yeah.
like doing like random things related kind of to what you're graduating for. Or maybe like you need like 3 general electives.
Yeah, like
you need like 6 or 7, I think, to graduate.
making a school of communication student take a graphic design class makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you should at least understand the basics of that. No matter where you are in the
Yeah.
product, you should understand just the very basics of graphic design. But why am I taking a creative writing?
Yeah. I feel like you shouldn't have to do stuff like that unless like you have like a track for it or it's like a minor maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is I'm out of here as long as I can figure out what a plie is or whatever. So I think I can manage it. But aside from that, I'm a producer at Point Park's UView Television. I produce a show called Daybreak, which is kind of like a Good Morning America style talk show. I've been doing that show since my freshman year, and I'm not even interested in broadcast anymore. Like, honestly, I'm more so on the, like, I honestly should have been, like, a marketing major. I'll get into, like, what I do for a living, but yeah, like, I just love UView because I love all the people that are in it, and I love, like, just, like, the ability to create is always great, no matter what the medium is, no matter what it is you're doing, you know? So it's really awesome to still be able to be, you know, part of Daybreak. I'm also a freelance content writer and copywriter, which is what I do for money. I have a freelance writing business that I've been building up since like late 2022, and now it's actually like lucrative. Now I actually make pretty much all of my money through that, which is awesome. And
that's great.
I want to scale that up after I graduate and hopefully, you know, make it into like, I don't want to say a real business because it is a real business, you know, but
it could also be a fake business is one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's a fake business.
Tim Dillon bits of all time. You know what Tim Dillon is? He's like my favorite comedian.
I know.
He just does this thing where he like, I didn't mean to interrupt you again.
No.
But like fake businesses, because I kind of think, okay, this might be, I don't know if I can trouble for saying this, but we joke on and say that Point Park is like kind of a fake business a little bit. Because like, I don't understand what's going on there and neither does anybody else.
Yeah, no.
But we all talk about it like we do.
Yeah.
And we're like, why don't they change that? And it's like, we have no idea what the process is like at all. But he does this thing where he would like call up realtors and like pretend to want to buy a property and then just never buy it and just like ghost them. And it was his fake business. So
his business is like calling them.
But he makes no money. He just does it for fun. Like in his free time, he just calls up realtors and like asks them, because he used to work in real estate, so he knows all the details.
And all, like,
so he can make himself look legitimate, and then he just doesn't. But that's, I think, kind of like Point Park is like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
But we all talk about it like we do.
Yeah, it's like there are these like 10 shadow figures in this like shadow boardroom that like make all the calls.
But no one knows.
Who are they?
I don't
right?
even think they live. From what I've heard, most of the board doesn't even live in Pittsburgh.
So like what are they doing? You know what I mean?
Did you see what was it? Shoot, what was the Inside Job on Netflix, the animated show?
I love that show.
Isn't that kind of like the shadow people?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the like shadow board.
Dude, isn't Point Park kind of just like Cognito Inc., Gavin?
In a way.
No, I think it is just like the corporatization of America. Everything's just become that.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of like what the board might, and I've never met them, and they're not watching this, and they don't.
No.
That is a running joke, though, is that anytime we mention a famous person, they watch the show. The Paul brothers
Really?
are watching this.
Oh my gosh.
The Paul brothers watch this. Joe Biden watches this show. But I don't think the board of directors.
Hey, Aubrey Plaza. I hope you like this episode. I forgive you for your commercial about oat milk. I'm over it. Did you hear about that?
No.
She made a fake commercial about like wood milk. Like it was sponsored by Got Milk, like the brand Got Milk.
Yeah.
And it was basically to make fun of like how there are like 80 different kinds of alternative milks.
Yeah.
And everyone in the comments was like tearing her
But
up.
oat milk is good.
Oat milk's delicious.
I actually just I only drink oat milk at this point because my whole family's lactose intolerant.
Yeah, I have Crohn's disease,
no
which
choice.
I'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, dairy kind of makes me.
But that has like extreme dietary restrictions, doesn't it?
It does.
For some people, I guess. I
For
don't know.
some people, and also depending on like the severity of your condition and where you are. Like, whenever I first got diagnosed, there was a lot of things that I couldn't eat that I have no trouble eating now that I'm like years into my treatment and stuff. I'm actually pretty close to remission.
That's
which is
awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that. But yeah, so she made this commercial about alternative milks, and everyone was really mad at her about it, but I forgive her. So I just wanted to say that, and she's watching.
Because all these people might be watching. I just know that Mr. Beast has Crohn's disease, and he did like a dietary cut.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mr. Beast has Crohn's disease.
I feel like he's entitled to like give me money because we're like blood brothers through that, right?
Give me money. That guy can't do like a single thing. By the way, without somebody being like, "But he's like,"
no, literally,
he can't help a single person without somebody just. It's just jealous people that wish it was them.
Yeah, I saw he made this one video that was like, giving 100 deaf people the ability to hear again or whatever.
He gave 1,000 people. He did the eye surgery on all those
yes,
people.
that's what it was. It was blind people.
And they tried to like cancel.
Yeah,
him.
and they were like, "Yeah, you asshole! Like what?" I'm a big Mr. Beast fan. Whenever I grow up, I want to be Mr. Beast's friend for a living. You know,
It's that's a lucrative career as being friends with Mr. Beast.
Yeah, that's the dream.
But that's the craziest thing to me is that Buddy can't do a single nice thing.
No, literally.
Without somebody being, but I guess that's everything. You can't do anything without somebody being mad.
Well, I think about those, like, you know, those videos, like, not Mr. Beast, but like Mr. Beast, I don't want to say copycats, but the same genre, where people will be like walking up to like random homeless people and being like, here's $500, or like servers in restaurants and being like, here's $300. And everyone, it's like a very mixed bag in the comments of people being like, oh, well, you know, if you film yourself doing nice actions, then they're not actually nice. And you're actually a piece of shit for giving that girl $300. And I get it. I get that, you know, whenever it comes to like ethics and stuff, you know, your intent means a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to like the outcome. But at the same time, you know, that girl doesn't care.
Yeah. No,
you know? Like.
That was one of my. I saw this article that they're trying to like force Beverly Hills to get low income housing.
Interesting.
They're trying to force and I was just thinking like so they're like freezing all the building permits until I don't even know what they're looking for, like whether it's like starting to break ground or whatever, but they just, and I'm thinking like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Like first of all, get out of Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
if
what are you going to do?
don't
You get the affordable housing, and then it's like time to shop for groceries at Erewhon. Like,
But
what? You know what I mean?
What is affordable housing in Beverly Hills? How much money are you making to get the affordable housing?
$3,000 a month, at least.
No,
Like,
I'm thinking like $400,000 a month is low income in Beverly Hills.
yeah.
So could you be making like $200,000 a year and apply for affordable housing? It's just so ridiculous. It's like, you gonna go to any of those people on the street and like, what are they taking comfort in knowing?
Yeah, it's crazy because like, I know that SoCal has like a very, you know, large homeless population.
Yeah, it's like the Mecca.
But I don't think they're trying to go to Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? Like,
That's it's like.
I wouldn't want to live there. You know what I mean? I would be probably the poorest person in Beverly Hills.
But I don't get why that's such a. I'm not saying such a priority as like don't give these people a place to live, but like get them to a cheaper area.
Yeah.
So that they can actually. But I digress. But that was just.
Yeah, just a little interesting little.
Everything's insane.
Yeah, everything.
All of it has become insane. The American dream is just. Can you be a little more insane than the other person?
Yeah. The American dream is like making your payments on time for the multiple debts that you inevitably accrue by the time that you're an adult. Like,
yeah.
It's absurd. I started looking for apartments because I'm going to be moving out come, you know, summertime. And like, it is literally impossible to live alone. Like, you have to have a roommate.
You have to have a roommate.
Unless you want to pay like at least $1,000. Like, the cheapest one bedrooms I found like, in the Pittsburgh area are like $950 a month minimum.
Yeah.
Not counting utilities, not counting like any of your other cost of living expenses. And like, would that be like feasible? I guess, but like, I'd be basically living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be ideal. And
You can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how, like, I mean, I don't know how, like, do we call, I don't know, two people that we know, that the CEO and the CEO of Bridge USA are, like, roommates together in San Francisco. I'm like, yeah, like, have to be. Like, for them, like, I don't even want to know what their rent is a month. I think they have another roommate, too. I don't even know that for sure. I think they might. But it's like, but that's crazy because Manu is not, the CEO is he's home like 3 weeks a year. Because everything else is just traveling place to place.
Ooh, plus your absurd San Francisco rent. That's
what I'm wondering. It's like, I don't even know. I mean, like, the guy's home, like, it was so funny. He told someone that he's from American Airlines. It's kind of good. Because he literally is, like, if you go to his Instagram, he's just always on a plane. He's always flying somewhere.
That's cool, though.
It is. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
I'd like to travel more. I don't know. You know, I never really got to travel growing up. The first time I was on an airplane was actually my freshman year of college. It was pretty crazy.
That is.
Yeah, and it was to Philly.
No, of all the places.
I was going to Philly on an airplane because I could have taken the train, but I was like, I've never been on an airplane. Like, I'd really rather just fly. So that was exciting. I've been to a couple of places since then, but yeah, that's so cool that he gets to travel all the time. Is it like to like conferences? Or
it's like going to like meet donors. I would assume, at least, I don't know. He flies to DC a lot to meet with to meet with Congress people. I don't even know what he does. I just know that he doesn't really stop doing it, and I don't understand how, because, and I don't think any of his, like, I've talked to the people on the board, none of them really understand how he does it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I'm just wondering, like, the rent in San Francisco, because even here, like, this is a cheap place to live too.
Yeah, it's like one of the like most livable cities in America or whatever. I don't know about all that, but
I mean,
I believe it though. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how anybody does it. Like, I see people,
I guess you just make more money, because I guess you have to adjust the. I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah,
anything works.
Scale up. You have to scale up your income. Like,
I don't even know.
Yeah, I just opened a high yield savings account like a couple of months ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm basically like a fucking stockbroker now.
Yeah.
Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yes,
Okay.
you are. You are allowed to swear. That is true though, because like the education system covers money, not at all.
Not
pretty
at all.
much. I mean,
No.
there's nothing about. So anytime you like read one book, you're like, well, I know more than 95% of the population about
No,
this one
literally.
issue.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's really interesting, like, having to, like, teach yourself all this stuff from scratch, because, like, my parents love them so much, you know, they're great people. They, like, tried really hard growing up, and my dad is, like, the most hardworking person I've ever met, probably in my entire life. He retired at 66. He was a construction worker. But, like, I didn't know jack shit about anything whenever I came to college. Like, I didn't know that, like, high yield savings accounts existed. I didn't know that people other than, like, the hyper rich, you know, even had like a stock portfolio or whatever. I didn't know what retirement accounts were, what IRAs were, or like any of that stuff. And it's like teaching yourself that from scratch is really difficult. And then on top of it, you know, student loans and figuring out your credit score and how to open up a credit card and what are credit card points, and like it's just like so much information that could have been a class that
It could have been a class. It could have been a
trig, you know.
Could have been a class that you just take one class of it every year.
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna do another history class. We're gonna start with the American Revolution, and then we get stun locked in the Industrial Revolution again for another year, and that's it.
Yep.
I mean, how many years was that the history classes? We didn't cover anything else for probably like 5 or 6 years of grade school history. The history class was the same thing every year.
Yeah. No. In Mesopotamia, like, why did I need to know about Mesopotamia? You know.
Mesopotamia is pretty cool, though. I will admit. I mean, I'm not trying to go Roman Empire here because that trend was dumb, but
yeah.
It's like one of the earliest records of human civilization. It's kind of.
It's interesting. I agree.
But if it was that or learn about how to handle finances, yeah.
Yeah.
Finances probably first.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like, I don't know, there's so many things that I wish I would have learned in high school that, like, if I would have learned them then, I feel like I would have been in, like, a much better place now. And I'm sure that, like, everybody else probably feels that way.
Yeah,
I feel like
I think
everybody
so.
our age feels, like, perpetually behind where we, like, should be.
Why
but,
do you
like,
think that is?
I think honestly, some of it has to do with like, and it's a good thing and a bad thing, but I think some of it has to do with like social media and this like unlimited access to every piece of information that's like ever been discovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not as much of a gift as it's supposed to be, right?
I agree with that. But I also think that like coming from like a small town, you know, when would I have learned about this stuff if I grew up 20 years ago? You know, would I even know it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, like having access to everything. Obviously, like there are horrible things about social media, and we can talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
But like one of the good things is that like you can like hone in on a subject or a topic, and you can learn about it like for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool, you know? And people didn't used to be able to do that. So like I do feel kind of blessed to like grow up having access to that, you know? And like being able to like watch podcasts and things like that. You know what I mean?
I agree. I just think people focus. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but people focus on the dumbest stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they don't use it to actually attain all the information that they could attain.
Yeah, and like stupid like interpersonal problems, like you liked this person's Instagram post and you didn't like my Instagram post, or you know, you commented this on this person's Instagram post and not mine.
You didn't reply to my 300th Facebook post about climate change.
No, yeah.
Why didn't you do that?
Infographic. Do you actually give a shit?
Oh God.
Do you actually give a shit? Because you probably post this.
I can't get into what's up.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you have something like a phone on you that's? I hear something.
Oh
my God.
It's definitely my phone.
The whole time.
Do you hear it?
It might have been my phone.
I don't hear anything. Like, was it like a static?
I think that my like.
Out here, it might.
I think my pocket might have been playing something, but it's not anymore now.
I did that all of yesterday. My phone was playing music and the volume was like just 2 clicks up, so no one heard it. But I was like, oh, I was just playing music the entire time.
Well, hey,
but
thank you. I appreciate that. My background is Detroiters. Are you familiar with the show Detroiters?
I'm
with
not.
Tim Robinson?
I don't really do TV shows.
Well, listen, you would like Detroiters. You would also like I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
I might have heard of that
Funniest guy ever. You ever see that meme where it's that guy and he's in his car and he's like 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 shakes?
No. I haven't.
Well,
no, I'm sorry. That's the worst whenever I don't understand it. Gavin, can you find it? Please,
Are you familiar with I Think You... Yeah. It's a good show. It's like a sketch comedy show.
Okay, then I think I would like that.
Familiar with the bear?
The Bear?
Yeah.
Like the show?
I heard The Bear was great. I
Like
just...
the edit where they kind of like cross that over where
No.
they get like all those like request orders and then he starts like freaking out, like the cook starts freaking out. They clip that with him ordering all that food.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't seen as much of The Bear as I kind of want to. I watched like the first 2 episodes and I got kind of into it. I thought it was really interesting though that it wasn't like nominated for like a comedy Oscar. It didn't rub me as a comedy.
It's like a drama.
Yeah, like
That's like in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia whenever Charlie puts on the musical and no one laughs. And he's like, no, they all laugh. And he's like, why are they laughing? It's not supposed to be a comedy. Like,
yeah, no. Yeah, the Oscars were interesting this year.
I have never watched them ever.
Me either, but I do, the next day doom scroll on social media and, see what everyone's pissed off about. And they were like...
Because that's a good way to start the morning.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And especially when you don't personally give a shit. It's like, ooh, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
I saw, like, Hillary Clinton posted... a tweet.
Oh, I mean anything at this point that she posts. It's my favorite thing?
Man.
My favorite thing from Hillary Clinton is the tweet that's happy birthday to this future president with a picture when she was like 7 in 2016. And every year people are like, let's resurrect this and not let it die. Yes, I saw it this year.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
I saw it. Oh, okay, you sent it to me. So that I'll see this meme. God, yeah, see, all these TV shows everyone references, I don't get into them.
You have to.
Oh, that, okay, I think I have seen
that guy.
From the thumbnail, yeah, I think I have seen that, yeah, okay.
He's very funny. But he has a different show called Detroiters with this guy named Sam Richardson. And It's hilarious. It was on Comedy Central for like 2 years, and then it got canceled because everyone stopped watching Comedy Central around that time. So it didn't get the lifespan that it should have had, and it's very good. And I binge watched it like last week.
Okay, then maybe I'll check. I always tell people that I'll check out TV shows. He's been asking me to watch Breaking Bad for 3 years, and I haven't gotten around to it.
You're
yet.
a little late to the party.
No, I know.
Bad-wise.
I know. I've been called a boomer on this show because I don't.
That's like my favorite.
Better Call Saul. Yeah, I watched the first season of Better Call Saul, but I need to get back into it. My favorite TV show of all time, though, is BoJack Horseman. I don't know if you're
Another one that I've heard of and never watched.
really, really fucking good. It's great. You know, it's like an animated adult comedy or whatever, but it like, I feel like a lot of adult animation really, you know, hones in on like the comedic aspects, and there's not a lot of like genuine like story and character development, and that's kind of what differentiates that show for me, is like it is really real, you know, for being about like anthropomorphic, you know, creatures living their life or whatever. It's a really, really good show. If you're into like adult animated comedies, you said
I'd probably watch it. Have you seen Smiling Friends?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I've seen
I
Smiling
still have that meme that you made of what are their names? Charlie and Pim. Outside of Point Park. I love Point Park. Where is it? It's on my page. Yes, there it is. I wish we could put this in the episode. Gavin made that.
That's so cute.
It's so good.
Did you see
I love
Smiling Friends go to Brazil?
Yes, I did see that one. Yeah, I haven't seen any episode after that, but yeah, that show is really good.
Yeah, it's very good. I actually don't think they made any newer ones since.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. They're working on it. Yeah, it's in the works, but
that show is really good.
Love Smiling Friends. Yeah, I'm super duper into like animated adult comedies, whatever.
I don't know if there are any that
South
I've
Park.
actually seen. Oh, okay, South Park. Yeah, South Park's good. Yeah, I watch South Park.
South Park's a little guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for everyone, probably.
Yeah.
South Park is really good. I honestly can't believe that show is. I'm glad that it's still around, but I honestly can't believe that it's still here.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen any of the like newer stuff. But I've definitely seen some of the like semi-new stuff. Like I remember they were going at it with the COVID jokes for like a while there.
They did do the COVID jokes. They did the one where I don't remember any characters, but the old couple goes to Florida and there's like the MAGA like outlet store and they have like he has like a rave in the
yes,
in the MAGA
that one's
shop.
good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like the one with Paris Hilton where like her dogs keep killing themselves.
I haven't seen that one. That's
that
crazy.
one's good. Yeah.
No, but South I only really watch South Park when Gavin puts it on when I'm hanging out with him, because I watch almost exclusively podcasts on YouTube.
Interesting.
I really don't do TV shows.
Have you ever heard of Caleb Hammer on YouTube?
Yeah, I have. Every once in a while, YouTube just stuffs things down my throat. They just infest my algorithm with. It could be anything, and at some point it was that guy just auditing people on his show, just being like, "This is the worst financial decision you've ever made in your entire life, and you should start over now."
Yeah, it's like addictive. He just like airs out people's dirty laundry and just like goes into them, and it makes I can't lie, it makes me feel a lot better.
It does. It makes me feel great about my situation because I didn't take a $10,000 loan on 73% interest.
Yeah.
Because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, or like I'm not in like $15,000 of like credit card debt. I saw this one that he did with this woman who was like a spiritual wellness coach.
Oh, Christ.
And she was basically like, I just choose not to participate in capitalism because I just feel like, you know, as a society, like money's fake and like our choices shouldn't revolve around like wealth. And meanwhile, she's spending like literally like thousands of dollars on like Lululemon and shit. And it was crazy. He was getting so mad at her. It was really good.
Yeah, that guy is
really
good.
One. Yeah.
He's got good. He definitely knows how to go viral because he just shits on. And they kind of deserve it sometimes because you made just ridiculous decisions. But
And it's nice because you can tell that it comes out of like a place of love. Like he really just wants
Yeah.
these people to like better themselves and like get their shit together.
yeah.
And I think that it's like cool and motivational in that way, which is like it's a good balance because he's not there like just to embarrass them. Like he gives them like budgets and like helps them structure the way that they should get themselves out of these like massive comically large holes that they've like dug themselves
I mean,
into.
some of them are some of them are genuinely. I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to laugh, but I do because it's just purely out of shock
Yeah.
that people are just taking loans with 25% interest.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Literally insane. I
crazy.
saw someone have a payday loan that had like over 100% interest. It was like something like literally.
Oh yeah, that's what those.
Bonkers.
Oh God.
It was bonkers. Literally insane. And it
Nothing-
wasn't even for her. It was like for her, like on behalf of her son. Like her son needed money or something.
Oh
And she like
gosh.
took out this crazy payday loan. I don't even know. People are a lot more generous than I am.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
No, I mean nothing. I mean, this is a point that I've made this point multiple times in the show. When I'm around my conservative friends, no one blue pills me harder than my conservative friends, without fail, every time. And when I'm around my conservative friends, no one red pills me harder than when I'm around my progressive friends, nobody red pills me harder,
Yeah.
without fail, every time. It's just how it is. Nothing makes me more fiscally conservative than watching those clips.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I think
Like-
at the end of the day, it's like you can have whatever opinions or reservations you want about like our financial system, and you can, want to change it or, desire it to be different, even advocate for it to be different. But at the end of the day, that is the reality of like the country that we live in. And you do kind of have to play by the rules of the game, because
Yeah,
until they change, it is what it is type deal,
There's not really an option to just go, yeah, I'm not going to engage with the utility bill.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, definitely. Like I can advocate against, federal student loans and stuff, but I still got to pay them. Like they're still there until they're not, what
That
I
is the
mean?
crazy one. Is people that
So-
are like, no, I'm just waiting for President Biden to get rid of these. And it's like that is just, I think, strategically the worst decision you can make is to wait for the government to get something done. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's waiting for the government to do something. They can't even get their funding bills. I mean, they can't even get their funding bills passed.
Yeah.
They might kick the speaker out again because he's going to the Democrats being, all I hear is that they do another Band-Aid bill. They haven't figured it out yet.
I don't know if they're necessarily going to.
I don't think they're interested in getting it figured out.
No, I mean,
Is this the new? So this is the new reality. Is that this? No, this is great. This is actually very fitting, I think, because the American people have been living on credit card debt for how many decades,
Yeah.
and now the government is going to be kind of the same thing. The government's going to go, "Hey guys, we don't really have the money right now." So then here's my question: is eventually do people just say fuck paying taxes because you guys can't get your shit together?
some people do have that prerogative. I mean, and people I noticed on both the
I'm
right.
not saying to commit tax evasion, by the way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
Yeah.
would people eventually, because my thought is eventually somebody gets fed up with the fact that you can't get the funding bills passed
Yeah, absolutely.
in one try.
Yeah, or a couple tries. You know what I mean?
You know, when Kevin McCarthy was not setting a precedent of 15 votes every time we have to get something done.
Yeah.
This was not,
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
I don't even,
And I mean, like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's something that, like, people on, like, I think that's, like, a bipartisan issue. You know what I mean? It's definitely not something that, like, is different on either side of the political sphere. You know, you have, like, hardcore leftists and you have, like, you know, libertarians and, you know, all these people are like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? What is going on?
I love the idea of putting a leftist and a libertarian in the room together and asking them to agree on a statement. No, I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but
Weed?
that's okay. That's true. That's true. And I was kidding. Obviously, there's something
Yeah,
to agree on.
Yeah.
But it's like ask them to. I don't even know, because the libertarians are going to be like, well, there should just be no taxes of any kind.
Yeah.
It's not a feasible position.
No, it's not at all.
You can't do it.
No.
You can't do it. Asking private industry to take over everything, isn't that just a worse version of what we have now?
Absolutely.
It's just a worse because everything's private now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just what I do. And I mean, genuinely, I was so optimistic about just everything like a year and a half ago. Now I just kind of shrug my shoulders and go, yep, that's just how it is because because it's like so like what's going to happen? Like these kids that are like Gen Alpha,
Yeah.
what is their world? Because I feel like
TikTok.
our world, like we could use some better footing in all across the board. We could use some better footing,
Yeah.
and these kids are gonna have a worse version of what we had.
Yeah, absolutely they are. Yeah. And, like, not to mention they're going to have, like, the repercussions of, like, growing up with an iPad in their hands, which we're already seeing. Like, I see, you know, like, posts from teachers all the time saying, like, the kids that I have in my classroom post-COVID are, like, the dumbest kids that I've ever had in a classroom ever. And
Yeah.
I've been teaching for, like, X amount of years. And that's, like, really scary.
That's really scary.
Because, like, you know, obviously we grew up with the internet,
Yeah.
but we grew up with the internet, like, once we were already in, like, elementary school, like, late elementary school, I feel like, is when I
Yeah.
remember, you know, first going on Instagram or, like, maybe, like, YouTube a little bit before that. But, like, now, yeah, you got, like, Coco Melon. What is that it? Just,
I mean-
like, the most brain-rotting stuff for people who don't even have brains to be rotted yet.
First of all,
it's so sad.
I think it is just people that don't want to parent their kids and
No,
they just go
absolutely.
raise them. But here's the thing is like, I think you're right is that we were not digitally native in the sense that
Yeah.
Gen Alpha is.
Yeah.
They get it from the moment they're born, they have it. Millennials adopted it. We did a little more, but they're going to fully have it now. Do you think there's going to be a situation where, because this is at least like, I think my understanding is that the boomers were such absent parents that millennials then became like helicopter parents.
Yeah.
Because their parents were never around. So then they are trying to correct that. Do you think there's going to be an instance when like, dude, like all these kids are going to be dumb? Like the next generation, like I wonder if our generation is going to kick it in with our kids and be like, no, you're actually going to learn shit. And we can't outsource the raising of you to algorithms anymore because it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that it's complicated because whenever I hear you say it out loud, I think the exact same thing. But whenever I hear you say it out loud, I think, is this just how like generations go? You know what I mean?
I think it kind of
because I'm
is, yeah.
sure that like, you know, whenever like millennials were our age, they were like, yeah, we're gonna be way better fucking parents than our parents were, you know?
Yeah, and then
They're a little ass too, and now we're like, we're gonna be way better fucking parents than our.
I'm not even
parents
saying we're
were.
going to be better parents, but I'm saying like there's going to be that cultural shift of I wonder if this next generation is going to go to college because I would not sell college to my kids in the way that it was sold to me, and not by my parents but just like by society.
Yeah, definitely. I think that college is like great for certain people. I think that personally college was like I don't want to say my only option, but like one of my only options, you know, because like blue collar family, middle of nowhere. Like,
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Bentleyville, which is in Washington, PA. It's a small
Okay.
little farm town. I graduated with 80 some kids.
Okay.
So, you know, pretty
Yeah.
small, pretty secluded. So, like, college was, like, great for me because I have, like, networking connections now that I never in a million years would have had. You know what I mean? And I, like,
Yeah.
get to live downtown in the city. But it's, like, if you already have access to certain things, like, I feel like the value of college is, like, not really valuable anymore. I think that, like, college isn't so much about what you learn there, and it's more so about who you're able to meet. So if you already know people, then, like, there's really no point because it's just, like, extra steps for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the hands-on learning that Point Park provides us is actually worth it to an extent.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
know if it's worth what they're charging us, but if it was a 2-year program, worth it.
Yeah.
If the broadcast production program was 2 years in and out,
Yeah.
you only take the classes that are necessary, then yes, I would say that was worth it. But don't make me take, like, I love the class, but don't make me take the search for extraterrestrial life in the universe to
Yeah.
graduate. I love
Yeah,
the
no,
class and
definitely, yeah.
the teacher's fantastic.
Well, it's
but
like,
don't make me take it.
yeah, when you look at a lot of employers now, like in like recent like studies or whatever, they're saying that some of them are going to drop degree requirements entirely.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, they're going to drop
They
degree
should.
requirements, and because even now, like they're focused on your experience, like your practical experience. They don't want to know what you studied. They want to know what you've done. Obviously if you're going into academia, I guess it would be different. But if you're going into like any other kind of job, like media jobs are a great example of that. Like,
Yeah, you don't need to.
yeah, like they want to know what you've done and who you've worked with and how many people you've worked with. They don't want to know like, well, I have this certificate. They want to know where you went and applied that.
Yeah, they don't care. I think that's that's probably how it should be, because if you're doing anything in STEM, you got to go.
Yeah.
I think to college. If you're doing anything in the field of medicine or STEM, you've got to go. If you want to be a lawyer, you've got to go. Otherwise, I mean, I guess like there's maybe some benefit to a business degree, just because if you're in person, then you do get to meet people. You're right, though. It's all about the networking.
Yeah, it's interesting that whenever people say they got a degree in business, it kind of makes me think of like, we were talking about the Oscars earlier. Like, you know how in the Barbie movie, Ken's like, yeah, my job is beach. Like, whenever people are like, yeah, my degree is business. I just do business. My job is business. Like, what does that mean? What do you do?
They're a crypto bro, and they mine Bitcoin in their basement.
Yeah.
And I run a business.
Yeah, or I drop ship,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I have a drop shipping business. I make millions of dollars a year, but I still need to sell you my $35 course.
Yeah, there we go.
Even though I
love
make millions of dollars a year. You know what I mean?
The course selling.
Stupid.
The entire financial side of Instagram, including the memes, are my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's always just some guy in a shirt that's a little too tight. Little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just a word salad.
Yeah, douchebag haircut.
Like Gary, or they're bald.
Or they're bald. That's true, yeah.
And it's kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk. They just kind of say sentences.
I hate him. I hate Gary V.
He is my spirit animal, and I say that as a complete joke because he's
insane. He's a crazy person. Have you ever seen that one clip? There's a clip of him.
I have watched so many of the clips.
And he's like, he's at some kind of Q&A type of event, and somebody like asks him like what motivates him or whatever, and he's like, every morning I wake up. Some people, they like to do yoga, they like to meditate, but every morning I like to wake up, and for 10 to 15 minutes every morning, I imagine that the person closest to me gets shot in the head. What? What's wrong with you? Like, you need a 48-hour mandatory day.
That's
like,
incredible.
That's what you need.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He's like, so I want you to do that. Every day I want you to imagine all of your loved ones get killed.
Just died in a car accident for 15 minutes.
Why? Like, that's not going to motivate me to do anything. In fact, that's like an anti-motivator. And also, you sound insane on top of that.
Every morning for 15 minutes... Trick yourself into thinking that you have depression.
Yeah.
Trick yourself into being depressed, and then eventually you will be, and then use
and then you can buy my course and my ebook.
You can buy my self-help book on how to make yourself not depressed anymore.
Oh, one-on-one coaching session with me, and at the end you kill yourself. That sounds like a deal.
No, but I mean, he's... I love those. They're goobers. They're internet. I call them internet goobers because that's just what they are. And I love. Have you seen the one? And I played it before on the show. It's my favorite. And maybe I'll pull it up. I don't know if I will or not. Maybe I will.
Okay.
In case you haven't heard it, because it's so good. And I can find it pretty easily. But it's this. Have you seen the guy that says that he knows how to turn one day into 3 days, and then he works like 3 days in a day? Oh my God.
No.
Okay, hold on.
No, but they're always coming with the dumbest fucking productivity tips.
I mean, come on, you got to show it to me. Yes, here we go. Okay, I'm going to play this into my mic. I hope this isn't too loud.
Okay.
My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy for thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago. My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 Stack that up over a month, I'm going to kick your butt.
Okay,
Stack
Doctor
it up over a year,
Strange.
you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been.
You're too.
I mean,
He didn't even say what he does. He just said he like is awake for.
no. So the guy, Buddy, doesn't eat. He doesn't spend any time with his wife or kids.
So
he
he just
doesn't do
works?
anything. He just he sleeps for sick. Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure there's like data coming out now that like no one is fine with 6 hours of sleep.
No.
Most people need more than that. So Buddy sleeps, but that's why we're all broke college students right now. Is because if we listen, do you understand how many podcasts we could do? If we just split the day up into, if we split today up into 3, you could do 3 podcasts.
That's true. You could do that.
We'd be monetized on YouTube in no time.
Yeah.
So I think that's just, I've played that clip before. It's one of my favorites. I have it saved on my Instagram.
But he doesn't even say what he does. Like he's just
Doesn't
like,
need to.
He's just like vocalizing his delusions. He's like, I am.
But he's
Dr.
giving you the
Strange.
mindset because the business doesn't
of
matter.
course.
The
Yeah.
mindset is all that matters.
I fucking forgot about.
It's
the
just
fucking
the mindset.
You're
You have to
right.
remember that content is queen and marketing is whatever. Gary V just has those. He loves those.
Yeah.
But that that's just.
Gary V has like.
Dude, I love him too.
He has so many fucking LinkedIn followers, and I'm just like, how? How does he have so
Yes.
many fucking LinkedIn followers? Why are you all following him?
You're trying to like get your LinkedIn game up this year. I saw on your
yeah.
Instagram story.
Yeah, I am. So I didn't post on LinkedIn at all until like my junior year. It was
I don't think I've ever
last.
posted.
It was like last. Honestly, around this time last year, I like started posting on LinkedIn, and now I have like almost 1,300 followers on LinkedIn because, you know, people just like want to hear what I have to say. I guess, even though like what I have to say is like pretty basic.
That's my thought. That's my. I'm like, who's listening? That's my thoughts with this. Is then like, huh?
Something about LinkedIn bothers me so much. It's like
I have a genuine.
who use LinkedIn, not
It's
not
a
you,
circle
but
jerk.
just like, yeah,
I have a genuine question for you.
cringe.
Is should we just exclusively move the show to LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Exclusively.
Yeah.
We'll just do the show on LinkedIn.
Just on LinkedIn. I think that's a great
Just
idea.
off the LinkedIn. And instead of I've made this huh?
On how to start a podcast.
Yes, how to start a podcast and end up on the CIA's watch list a week later.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that meme so much. It's at the end of
Yeah.
War Dogs when they're walking Jonah Hill and Miles Teller out of the building, and it's like me and my buddy when we started a podcast a week later. That's what we can do. No, but seriously,
Oh,
LinkedIn is kind of funny because I feel like, are there any LinkedIn influencers? Because that would be that would be very funny.
There are.
Oh my god.
There are. I'm actually trying to. I can't.
You wanna
shit-
be a
I can't
LinkedIn
shit talk
influencer.
LinkedIn too much, guys. I'm not trying to hurt my
Well,
personal brand.
I'm not talking shit on LinkedIn either. I'm just saying LinkedIn to me is like it just evokes a giggle. I don't know
Absolutely.
why.
Well,
but
because it's different from every other social media platform in the sense of like, you're on there to impress and to seem like you are the best person at your job and that you're the only one who could ever write anything ever, in my case, you know what I mean? And like the posts that do well are not the ones where you're like talking about yourself. They're not the ones where you're like talking about your experiences or whatever. They're the ones where you're like, yeah, I just landed 5 clients and also I'm fucking your mother and here's how you could do it too. And like,
you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like, you remember how Logan and Jake Paul used to start their vlogs? When they would like shadow box the camera and they would like give you the whole rundown in the first like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminds me of. That's
Yeah.
what LinkedIn is. It's kind of like how every frat boy starts a conversation.
yeah, but I do have a prediction though. I do think that LinkedIn is gonna start popping off soon among like our generation.
Okay,
'Cause,
so we
like,
need to get in the ground level.
I do think so because I think that like a lot of people on there like are all, you know, older people who don't really like understand other social media platforms.
Yeah.
So whenever you bring in like practices from Instagram or practices from TikTok, you know, like onto LinkedIn,
Yes.
you know, people like will follow you and try to figure out what you're doing because there's just not too many young people on there. Like it's definitely like
good
full
point.
of older people and you know, even just having like Gen Z in your bio. Like there was one
Yeah.
time I got a job offer on LinkedIn and it was for a very lucrative article. And literally she DM'd me and was like, yeah, I just searched up Gen Z writer because we wanted someone Gen Z to write it. And your LinkedIn was the first one that came up, and you responded quick.
So interesting.
That's it.
Like, there's an algorithm to LinkedIn.
There is. There's like SEO is like so important on LinkedIn. Like making
So this is my proposal for the CEO of LinkedIn. You buy this show. It was kind of like right whenever Joe Rogan moved to Spotify, Tim Dillon was like, and I have an announcement to make. Is this show will now be exclusively on Saudi Spotify. And that was like the joke. And he was like, what if I open up next episode in like Saudi garb, like in, you like actually go? No, but I will do the show exclusively on LinkedIn because I know they're listening to this and I will do it.
Absolutely they are. I'm on the podcast. Hello? Didn't I just tell you I'm literally like the most followed person on the
You are the most
platform.
followed person.
Don't fact check that.
No, we don't do any fact checking on this show. So
Oh,
you're
thank
totally
God.
Fine.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
I don't believe in it. No, but seriously, that's wow. So I didn't know this. LinkedIn's gonna be the way of the future for Gen Z.
I'm predicting it. I am.
I love that. I'm surprised that it's not like Discord. I'm surprised we haven't turned Discord into like more of a. I don't like Discord.
I'm not a big fan of Discord.
I just don't look at it. I just never grew up. People grew up using it to I feel like a lot of people in Gen Z use Discord as a way to talk to friends they were playing video games with. I could be wrong about that, but that was like a big way that people used it.
Yeah.
I never used it for that, ever. So the first time I used Discord had to have been my freshman year of college. Was
For
the
like a
first time I
club or
used
something?
it. Yeah, for esports. Yeah, 'cause that's how
makes
we
sense,
communicated.
yeah.
And and I would just get yelled at for not looking at it, and I still don't. And Bridge USA has a Discord. I never look at it. I have friends there I could talk to. I never even open the app.
I just something about having like 99 plus notifications on anything makes me want to never ever look at it ever. Like group chats.
You should see my Gmail app on my phone.
Group chats stress me out so bad, and Discord is just like 80 big group chats.
Yes.
And everyone is just like talking and talking, and then you like, especially for like big ones, like I imagine the Bridge USA one is like a larger Discord.
It is a larger Discord.
So
yeah.
it's probably just like
it's just
everyone's probably in different time zones. Everybody's chatting 24 hours a day.
It's pretty constant. It's
Yeah.
pretty constant. My favorite part is when and this doesn't happen often. And I support all the people. Okay, I'm just saying. It is just funny, like when I go into the Bridge USA Discord and two bridge builders are like not following our own rules, and I'm like, guys.
Bridge builders, that's what they call them.
Yeah, that's what we call it. That's what we call ourselves, I guess.
okay.
Yeah, that's like the name.
Okay.
But but like when doesn't happen often, and I don't even remember names. And I'm not going after those people either. But it is just funny when I'm like, guys, we have rules, and they're pretty reasonable and simple, and you aren't even following.
Well, what rules? What aren't they following?
Just the rule that you're like not supposed to. So that one of them that's kind of unwritten that I think is just kind of just a decency rule, which is like, you don't go to corner anybody. You don't go to do gotcha shit. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help anybody. But people were doing that, and they were like not actively listening, and it was happening over Discord, and they were sending like wall messages.
I see.
And it was just none of it was lining up correctly for anything productive to happen, and people had to like step in and like slow it down. Yeah, but
yeah, interesting. I know whenever I don't know too much about Bridge USA, but I do know that whenever the Point Park chapter was like starting up, it was like a little like dicey or whatever, because everybody like nobody really knew about it or what it was. And I remember there was it was still during like all the COVID debates. So I think that it kind of like got off a little bit on the wrong foot on campus, just because like that was subject matter that like a lot of people really cared about.
Yeah, it probably wasn't in hindsight the best time to start it. Yeah, and that's honestly, I wonder if people even know that it exists, or if they know what we do, because there are a lot of misconceptions. I can't address all of them on my own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that people do know that it exists. I think that there could be more on the PR side that could be done, I think, to give students like a better impression of it.
Okay.
I think that's definitely possible, you know?
Because right now we're just focused on doing the podcasts.
Yeah,
because that's just based on the numbers, that's the way to engage the most students.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do clips? Do you like clip the podcast?
No, but we're gonna start doing.
You
that.
should
Yeah,
do
we are.
like Instagram reel clips of the podcasts. I think that could be really helpful.
We'll definitely do that for the next one. What do you think we could do differently? What do you know about it? Just I'm curious. What do you know about Bridge USA? Like, what is the? Because I don't know what the perception is of the chapter on campus. I genuinely have no idea.
I'll tell you what I think, and then I'll tell you what I think the perception is.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't say they're exactly the same.
Okay.
I think that Bridge USA, correct me if I'm wrong, is like meant to, you know, band together people from like different political perspectives on like common issues that are like bipartisan and that everyone should care about. Is it like something like that?
I would say that banding them together is the wrong word. Mm-hmm. The entire focus is not even the main focus is not even on affecting policy, and it's not even really on making. We like solution oriented stuff, but it's not a requirement. Really, the only goal is just to get people talking to each other again. That's really the only point, and just to understand people better. Because I'll just be honest, like my progressive friends do like the conservative that is in their head is I don't know, and same thing with my conservative friends. Like,
yeah,
I was talking to some like conservative family over the holidays, and the way they spoke about liberals, I'm thinking, oh, you have no idea what a liberal is anymore. Like you don't even know what they are the way you're talking about them. Because I don't know any of those people, and now they're just anyone that they know. It's like I don't even know who these people are. And so I get the same impression, and that's why I think we need it, is just because I don't think that we're just talking past each other the whole time.
Absolutely. And I think that like just like identity politics in general, like are awful. And like I think that a lot of people's political perspectives are built off of their personal experiences.
Yeah.
And so they project those personal experiences onto like entire issues and entire perspectives and entire groups of people, which I think is a bad thing on either end, you know? And, you know, like I said earlier, I grew up in like a small town in Washington County, PA, and there were marginally conservative people who went to my high school, marginally conservative professors. Like I had professors that were like pro teachers having guns, that were pro like being able to bring your gun to like school, and just like
that's a little
crazy. Well, because
it's just a different world.
It's hunting season, so why should Jimmy have to go home and drop off his rifle before he comes to school if he was out at 4:00 in the morning hunting with his father? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Okay.
So like. But at the same time, you know, I really disagreed with these people on a lot of things. But because I went to such a small, intimate school, even though I disagreed with them, I, like, had the opportunity to get to know them as people. And at the end of the day, like, we're all people, you know? And we should all care about each other and, like, making sure that everyone feels heard and that everyone feels, you know, included and accepted and whatever. And, you know, like I say, like, you know, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from criticism, but everyone should be able to speak their mind, you know, because I should be able to, you know, say my piece back at you for speaking your mind, and, you know, vice versa. So I think that the perception that people
you
have,
understand it. That's everything.
Yeah, definitely.
You understand.
I definitely understand it. I think the perspective that people have, though, is kind of like, Point Park's closet conservatives are in this club.
Yeah, that's,
you know?
I don't know how to get past that. There's no conservatives we have two members. It's me and Gavin, and neither one of us are conservative. We had a conservative, but she graduated.
Was it? Never mind.
It was Caitlin.
Caitlin Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but she graduated. Yeah. So there are no closet, but I don't know how to correct that message. I don't even know if I can, because I think my perception is I think some people just have their minds made up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I think that the work is important, you know? I think that, like, it's important to have, like, that kind of outlet and that kind of, like, club, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I think that if you guys did some more, like, PR efforts, people would have, like, a lot of a better understanding of that. Just because people affiliated, I think, with just, like, the COVID stuff. And, like, you guys are, like, anti-vax or whatever, which I don't even think is true.
Did people think... So there was that protest about the masks, and Caitlin was involved with it. So I didn't actually go to the protest. I helped them put up flyers and stuff, but even then I would have taken that back, because that was before. Because essentially what I've done is I've essentially divorced myself from any opinion that I have on a policy issue that I don't have expertise on.
Yeah.
So the only like one of the only hardline stances I have is free speech because what I do is impossible without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then other than that, I don't really have, because I don't know how anything works. So I would have taken that back. But yeah, people weren't happy about that. And then I think people just ignored me after that because I got no negative feedback for anything else. I've never even gotten negative feedback. No one said a thing.
Yeah, it was crazy. I kind of have like a little bit of a personal experience with. I had a little bit of a rocky start here at Point Park. So you might remember this. It was in the spring of 2021. Someone threw a party, and it got on the news, and people were upset about this party happening. And I went there with my roommate.
I don't remember. I don't think I heard about
It was somebody's birthday party, and it just like got a lot of bad press because somebody who didn't like somebody who went to the party took screenshots of like their Instagram story and then like tweeted them out. And there were people on Twitter who were like, yeah, those people should die. Like literally like said that. And the crazy thing is I would understand the outrage, except no one who went to that party got COVID. It wasn't like everyone acted like it was, everyone referred to it as like the super spreader.
That's what they were. What are they mad about this for?
Yeah, the super spreader party. And then,
meanwhile, there's the protests in the streets. No comment about super spreader events.
Yeah, and then nobody got COVID, which I found like really upsetting because like it kind of ruined my chances of being an RE because it was during RE interviews and I, had gotten in trouble for that. Yeah, and
that's not great.
It wasn't great because that would have saved me a lot of money.
Yeah.
It would have saved me a lot of money if I was an RE at that time. And I regret it, but the only reason that I really regret it is because of the repercussions. Because like, it was like one of those like slap on the wrist things. Like it was tough being in your freshman year of college, being from a small town, never like going to a party really ever. And it was crazy because my roommate had went to several parties that year, all at that house. You know what I mean? And everything was fine. And so I was like, you know what? I will go. I'm a freshman in college. I'll go to this party.
Yeah.
Left at 9:30 because I was like, I'm not even having fun. And so, sorry. But yeah, like COVID was just like a weird time.
It broke everybody's brains.
It broke everybody's brains because like everyone kind of stopped interacting with like real human beings for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And so like what I like to call internet politics became like the norm in day-to-day social interactions.
Yeah.
And that like kind of like messed with me a little bit because like I'm like vocally left. I'm like incredibly left. Like I would go as far as to call myself a socialist. Like I'm vocally left. And like everyone was acting like I was like some kind of conservative because I went to this party.
There is a new, my friend put, there is like a new Red Scare and it's being labeled as conservative.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a problem, but it's a yeah. Well, I'm sorry that happened. That sucks.
Water under the bridge. Like
the COVID stuff was probably that's when I tried to do like all of my stuff was like during COVID, and that's probably why people just didn't really.
Yeah, because at that time, like, I think that COVID as a epidemic, whatever.
A pandemic.
I couldn't remember what it was fucking called. It was like very heavily politicized.
Yeah.
Like for a long time, your stance on COVID was your stance on everything, on who you're voting for, on, what side of the political spectrum you're on, if you're a bigot, if you're a, bad person or good person. It all depended on like what your perspective was about COVID. And I, was very, conscious during COVID up until that point. But, whatever, I was human and I made a mistake. But I feel like that shouldn't define you as a human being.
No.
And it definitely shouldn't define your politics. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely
Because I know for a fact that everyone who went to Point Park during that time was meeting up with their friends in the Thayer basement.
That's the
in
thing.
the lounges.
Yeah.
Secretly in their rooms if they had an RE that didn't care or was busy all the time. So like just because I went to an event that was slightly larger, I don't think...
No, because everyone was doing it.
Yeah.
Some people just didn't stop living life.
But understandably, nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy who went to that party that could have hurt people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
when I really think about it, when I think of who I am, when I think of who I was friends with at that time, if I didn't go to that party, I probably would have been one of the people retweeting those tweets. I've probably been one of those people in the group chats being like, look at those stupid idiots who got caught going to that party. Because it was a matter of, you got caught, idiots. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just like very interesting. But yeah, I feel like going back to like the Bridge USA stuff, COVID was just a bad time to do a hard launch.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But also, I think, yeah, I mean, and I wonder, honestly, not that I care what anybody really says, but I wonder if people do say, like, critique the stuff that I do, but they just don't say it to my face, because no one said anything in my face.
Mm-hmm.
But I suspect, like, maybe behind my back, people are saying stuff, but again, I don't care.
I don't really, I mean,
How
I haven't heard
many-
anything bad about you, if that means anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because that was my thought, is like when I did the first podcast with Logan Dubill and no one said anything.
I didn't
No one
watch
said
that
a thing.
podcast, but I
And
wanted
that's fine.
to.
And
I
no one
wanted
has to watch a single one. Well, and then I did a second one.
Well, here's what people don't know,
No one said anything.
is that me and Logan Dubill go way back, because I was running for president of Future Business Leaders of America.
Really? So
for
you
the
were there
state of
too?
PA. Yeah.
That's the same thing with Mark Palumbo. Mark was like, I know Logan from the Future Business Leaders
Really?
of
I
America.
didn't know
Yeah.
Mark Palumbo did FBLA.
Yeah. Mark Palumbo knew Logan from
Look at
back
us.
then too.
Look at us, Mark.
Yeah.
If you're watching.
He does.
Yeah, no. Love Mark. And I have, my opinion of Logan Dubill is a common one across campus. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, but like I knew him whenever he was FBLA president, and whenever I first met him, I was like, this guy's fine. This guy seems like a decent guy. And the thing is like, when you see him in public, he acts normal. I don't know. But then you like go on his Instagram, and he's always posting this like crazy shit. And like, I don't know, like it's so odd. And he like even posts about how like his parents are Democrats, and how like he comes from
post about it. Yeah, he
he
does.
comes from like a
His dad's a Bernie supporter. Right?
yeah, his dad's like a Bernie supporter. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
happened? Like, so that makes me think like, what was the conversation that made you have, some of your more controversial opinions,
Yeah, I don't know.
like, how does that red pilling sort of occur? Like, I always find that to be really interesting, because like a lot of the time when you talk to people who have opinions that I personally believe to be a little bit bigoted, whenever you talk to those people, like, it's like there must have been a personal moment or personal experience that made you like start to feel that way, or start to think that way about like a certain group of people, whoever they may be. And like, I think from like almost like a psychological standpoint, like, I just wonder, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why I think it is important to have conversations with those people, even if you don't agree with them, you know, because when you find the root of like hatred, then you can figure out how to undo it and how to repair it and how to like restore connections. Because there's no way to get rid of every bigoted person. That's just not going to happen. There's no way to silence every bigoted person. That's not going to happen. But like, you can figure out where those beliefs come from and try to do something about it.
Yeah. Okay, well, so now what do you define a leftist as? Because you don't fit my definition of a leftist.
No?
No. But I guess I have a bit of a maybe I have a bit of a stereotypical view
Well, what
of
do you?
leftist.
Let's do you first.
To me, in my head, from what I've seen on social media, but also kind of from what I've seen in person too, is that leftists aren't as pro free speech as you seem to be.
I think that's.
And I could be wrong about that, but that's just been my perception.
I do think that there's a line, like legally with like hate speech. Like, what's hate speech? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so that's a different that's
like
a
a different
different
conversation.
can of worms.
I
Yeah.
think that maybe there are some leftists who don't really know the difference between like hate speech and just like general, like freedom of speech, things like that. But I think that like
Do you think that hate speech, because hate speech is currently protected by the First Amendment?
Yeah, it is. But I don't agree with it. I disagree with that. I don't know. I think that I identify as a leftist, but I think that I wouldn't say that I'm liberal. I wouldn't say that I'm like a liberal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean I like right wing politics because there's one.
Yeah.
They have one, and I just because they
Yeah.
have one term. So I don't use, and this is just like a personal decision I've made. I don't use liberal describing people politically left of center anymore, because in my head, liberal is like, that's like an Enlightenment idea of like freedom of religion, political freedom, the free market, free speech, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that is like the bedrock of Western society. So I only use liberal in that sense now, because I don't even know what a liberal is anymore. I don't know
It's hard to define
what
honestly.
a progressive is. That's why I don't like the labels. I don't have one for myself.
That's the thing. Is like
I'm a nobody.
I
That's
think
what
that like
like.
culturally we like have this weird fundamental need to be labeled and to
Yeah.
have labels.
Oh,
and
yeah.
to define ourselves through labels, because then it's easy because then there's an other, you know?
Yeah, I think that's just human nature. We do that all the time.
Yeah, then there's an other that we can, dislike, and then there's an R group, an in group that we can immediately like, and we don't need to know other people further than surface level because we
Yeah.
have that base knowledge of them, and we can immediately decide whether we like or dislike them. I don't really fuck with that. I think that like every single individual person has like a collection of thoughts and opinions and experiences, and that like it's important to like get to know someone on like a policy by policy kind of level before I can say whether or not I agree or disagree with them.
Yeah.
Because like I think that there are like some positions that I'm like a little iffy on. Like for instance, like what's one that I have like a differing stance on?
What if you could? What is your sort of like moral compass in politics? Like, what is your value system?
My value system, I'm pro free speech, but I'm also very pro. I'm pro freedom of religion. I'm a big advocate for the separation of the church and the state. Because whatever.
Yeah, no, that one I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Whenever it comes to like, like I believe that people should have the right to to gender expression. I think that people who are trans and non-binary are incredibly valid and their voices should be heard. I believe that, there is still a lot of racial and gender inequity in today's, American society. I disagree with a lot of like capitalistic values and practices. But at the same time, like I recognize that is the system we live in, and that we're gonna have to find a way to not change the entire system, but bend the rules in a way that we're able to like achieve our goals and work around it. Because I just think that that's more realistic, and maybe like a younger me would have had a different stance on that. Whenever I was in high school, I was like one of those I think we should just like abolish and overthrow the whole government. I think that like there should be no money and that we should like use a barter system. Like I had like all those crazy ideas, but like I'm older now. And I also used to be one of those atheist assholes. Like I used to be like, if you believe in God, you're fucking dumb. I don't think that way anymore. I actually have a lot of respect for people who are religious. I don't have respect for people who push their values onto other people. From a religious standpoint, especially if it's legislative.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My thoughts like whatever you need to live a good life, and if that's a religion, cool. But don't try to tell everyone else how to. I feel like everyone's doing that, and I feel like everyone is trying to tell people how to live.
And like all the Roe v. Wade stuff, fucking crazy, literally fucking crazy, dude. Like all of those like little special laws that they have in like Texas now, making it like impossible for you to even leave the state to get an abortion. I
mean, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I still don't know how to feel about the whole
because
abortion thing.
Because it's like, what's next? What's next? Now, if you're pregnant, you can't travel, just in case.
Yeah, no, it gets real slippery. The thing about it's not even my thing to speak on in the first place. because I'm a dude. But I still in my head don't know how to wrestle it, because my thought is, I think abortions should be legal. I don't like really anything that Bill Clinton has said, other than when he said, I think abortion should be legal and rare.
Okay, what do you mean by rare?
I guess that I would, and I guess maybe this is more of the conservative in me, but my thought is, like, if the life of the mother's in danger, if it's from rape or incest, you get an abortion. That's yes. I would say, like, I support, like, the nuclear family. I think that that's a beneficial thing. So my thought is, like, you should be planning to have kids and then have the kids, and not. But even then, that doesn't work for everybody. So that's why my thought is, like, leave it to the states, because finding a solution that works for California and Texas is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah,
but at the same, so I don't know.
Life is unpredictable,
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
I don't know what you were like, let's say in high school. I don't know if you had, like, a girlfriend, or if you had sex in high school or whatever. But, like, I like, had a boyfriend in high school, and, like, what happened if, like, the first time that we had sex, I was uneducated at the time, because I'm from rural PA, and we don't have, like, really any sex education.
Which there wasn't any. None of that either. No.
What then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. That's kind of where I don't. I think it should be legal. And yeah, I mean, I guess.
I think in order to have a country where abortions are, as you said, accessible and rare, is that?
And maybe I don't even want to use the word rare in hindsight. To be fair, I don't even know what the intent was, so maybe I shouldn't even be saying that behind that quote. But my thought is, like, I don't think making it illegal is a solution.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
either.
making it illegal is a solution.
I think that instead of touching abortion laws, we should focus more on access to contraceptive services. Making it easier for people who want to be on birth control to get on birth control, so that these abortions, aren't necessary, sex education, I think that, like, it's important for young people to understand their bodies. It's been proven time and time again. Like, you can, like, look up any stats, in states where there is access to contraception, where there is sexual education, there are less unwanted pregnancies. There are less abortions. That's just, like, how the cookie crumbles. At the end of the day, like, and this is my stance on harm reduction too, is that if people want to do something, they're going to do something. So make it safe, make it so that the bad outcome, like the thing that you don't want to happen, it doesn't have to happen, because you're putting every safety measure in front of it. No one wants an abortion. No one who's pregnant is like, oh, yes, I get to have an abortion.
Yeah, that's the,
you know what I mean? Like, they're terrified.
That's the one thing that does bug me, is I think that it's getting warm in here. I got to take off the esports strip real quick.
It is a little bit warm.
It's a little warm in here. Well, this radio, this pumps out hot air all the time. It doesn't make any sense. But I think that, like, conservatives have it in their head that progressives are like, oh, this get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
I've never met any of those people either. So again, it's like, I don't know who we're talking about, because I've never met. But abortion is one of those ones where it will likely never be solved, because it's a moral issue.
And it's like the matter of, okay, it's an unwanted pregnancy. You're not able to get an abortion. You still don't want the baby. So what do you do once you have the baby? Like, you're going to give it to a system that sucks.
Yeah, the foster system is not good.
Yeah, the foster system is not good.
Agreed.
And raising a baby in, like, subpar conditions is, I think, worse than getting an abortion. Like, that's just my stance. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that we should just treat it like a moral issue, not like a political issue, because it's not really a political issue.
Exactly.
And then you're trying to solve a moral thing, and then I feel like everyone's attitudes would change.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we're probably not going to change their mind.
And truly, I think it is one of those things where, like, until you or someone that you know, or someone that you're, if you're, like, a man, like, until you're in that position where, like, you get someone pregnant, and they don't want that baby, or you both don't want that baby, like you're never gonna really know how it feels.
Yeah.
Or like if
Yeah.
you're a woman and you're, pro-life or anti-abortion, and you're not gonna know how it feels for those women unless you have an unwanted pregnancy. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
at the end of the day. So like, it's really like shitty to judge people based off of a problem that you're never gonna have, or
Yeah.
that you've never had so far. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my stance on that, as well as my stance on like harm reduction. And how do you feel about harm reduction?
Do you apply the harm? Now, what do you apply that to when you say harm reduction? What falls under that?
I mean,
category?
access to, they have a lot of this going on in, also I believe like SoCal area, access to like needle disposal, areas, places where you can dispose needles, facilities where you can get care, where you can get Narcan, where you can get clean needles, where you can get testing kits if you want to do drugs. Like, I think that like it should like doing drugs is bad. Sure, we've all done a drug before. Let's just be honest, but not all of us have ever been through addiction, and we can't judge other people for addiction whenever we don't even know what that looks like. It's just like the abortion issue in that sense. You have no right to judge someone based off of something that you have never, experienced, and something that you might never have to experience. And like, I think that instead of like making things harder for people who we just want to like push to the side and not look at, we should make it easier for them to be able to like survive and like, not constantly be ODing and constantly like dying from the drug crisis that like I personally feel like our government kind of invented.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about that. I think that treatment and also harm reduction practices should be very normalized, and that they should be commonplace. It shouldn't be difficult for you to get Narcan. It shouldn't be difficult for you to get clean needles. And I don't think that it encourages drug use. I think that, again, they're going to do it anyway. Exactly. So, why not help them not die? That's my stance.
Yeah. That's what I was immediately thinking is that the only thing about that, I guess, that I'd be worried about, because I do agree, like, you need to a certain extent, regulate that stuff, because people on the street are just, like, mixing all of the drugs together, and there's just, like, dirty needles everywhere, so I agree with that. I would be worried about, like, almost enabling that. That's what I would be worried about, is that sort of enables people to do drugs, and it, like, enables their addiction. I'm sure there's a way to get around that, and I might be looking at it wrong. But that's the thing that I would be immediately concerned with.
I think fixing the rehabilitation programs in this country has to be a top priority, because people, like you say, like, go to rehabilitation. Obviously, it doesn't work in this country.
The rehab centers, I don't know what they're like, but I imagine that they're probably not great.
Yeah.
It's just a cycle. You go in, you get out, you get back on it again, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's a never-ending cycle because they want people in the street.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would say that my stance is, like, people do whatever they want, obviously. I'm not going to tell you can't, but I probably want less people, like, overdosing on the street from drugs.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think that there should be practices in place, to prevent overdoses, I think that if people want to do drugs, they should be able to weigh them out and make sure they're taking the right dose. I think that they should be able to make sure that they're not going to get any kind of disease or illness from the needle that they're using. I think that it's one of those, like, impossible problems, right? Like, there's never going to be no one who has addiction issues.
Yeah,
I mean,
somebody will always
look at
have
alcohol
one.
addiction.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's a perfectly legal drug that kills, like, everyone all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, like, placing blame or judgment on people who have addiction issues is not good for anyone.
Agreed. Fully agree there.
Yeah, and I think that, like, making sure that that all people are safe, no matter what their place is in life, no matter what their situation is, whether they're in the streets or whatever, making sure that they have an opportunity to continue to live and be as healthy as they can be, based off of the situation that they're in. And don't agree with what you say about how some of these harm reduction practices will enable people.
Well, I don't know if they will, but I'm saying that's what I'd be worried about. Like, I'd have to just
mean-
look at those programs and see, because I could be wrong. But
I
that's,
mean, like, it's like, here's my question. Like, you don't do hard drugs, right?
no.
If there was a center here, like a harm reduction center, to help you get clean needles and to help you get testing kits, would you just start doing hard drugs?
No, but I'm wondering if you're already an addict, and then all of a sudden there is a place that exists where you can get, and I get it, like you want to give them clean needles because the needles are like a problem, but I haven't done the issue with this one, so I haven't like looked into anything. But this is like a snap reaction. But yeah, I mean, I think that you've got to provide like a safe. The needles I agree with, like you have to give them clean needles.
And I mean, it's important to highlight, it's important to note, like at these centers, there's also plenty of resources to help people, you know, with their addiction. Like it's not just here's some stuff for your addiction. Like,
right.
Like the help is still very vocally there, but it's, you know, how do you start a conversation with these people who, you know, throughout the entirety of some of them, their lives, you know, or at least the entirety of their, you know, battle with addiction, they've felt nothing but criticism and judgment. You want to give them an outlet. You want to give them a space where they do not feel judged, where they feel okay going and getting the help, because the first step is getting them through those doors and getting them clean needles. And then whenever they keep coming back, they feel comfortable talking to you. They feel comfortable maybe picking up a pamphlet. They feel comfortable maybe speaking to a therapist, you know? And I think that that's the like real point of harm reduction is like you're able to, you know, build that relationship with these people who have no trust in anyone because they've just been basically neglected by society for a really long time. And so I think that like it's not just to help them do drugs and like help them get drugs. I think that there's a lot more to it, and I think that that's important to note.
Yeah, that seems reasonable, and I agree with. I forgot the thing you just said toward the end. Like, yeah, you have to build trust with those people.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. Yeah, I think that's good.
And it's like there are some times where like I've seen people like try to like give homeless people food and they're like, yeah, like the homeless people, they want to take my money but they don't want to take my food. I wouldn't want your fucking random fucking food. Like, who are you to me? You know what I mean? Like, there's like a lack of trust there, you know? Why would this random person trust the food you're giving them? I think like that's something that people don't want to talk about is like, you know, like the statement beggars can't be choosers is kind of laughable, in my opinion. 'Cause like, I just think that like seriously, based on like things that I've just seen in my everyday life, like people need to start treating homeless people with addiction issues like fucking human beings.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't see a lot of that. And that like kind of pisses me off. Like all this like anti-homeless architecture, like in like, you know, like Point State Park, how they like on the benches have like little barriers in between so nobody can lay down, or like spikes underneath the bridges so that nobody can put tents there. And it's like, what do you want from them? Like, where do you want them to go? They just closed 2 homeless shelters downtown.
Yeah, because there's no, as far as I know, there's no like, a lot of these cities aren't addressing the problems. They're just making the situation worse.
Yeah, they're just
with the
making sure
architecture and
that,
stuff.
you know, the wealthy tourists who come don't have to look at it.
But they're not providing those people an avenue to actually get out of that situation that they're in.
No.
Ugh.
But anyway.
A lot of people just breaking shit and then not fixing it.
Absolutely.
But that's not the, I was going to say, that's the American foreign policy over the last 20 years. But the American policy thing was, we're going to blow the shit up and then we'll fix it.
Yeah.
And we'll make the money off of it. So it's almost the same thing, but it's not. There's a question I have for you. Are there any, like, do you personally have any trust in any institutions whatsoever in this country?
Not really. No. Which kind of sucks because like trust is the most important thing ever in any relationship ever. Interpersonal relationships, professional relationships.
Yep.
Any kind of relationship, there has to be a foundation of trust. And I think that the United States, I think that you could ask someone on the farthest left of lefts or the farthest right of rights if they trust, any institutions. And I think that you're going to get a lot of the same answer, which is no.
No. Yeah.
And that isn't great. It's not a great, look for America. I think that, like, America has, like, serious PR problem. Nobody in America wants to be in America. Nobody outside of America wants to be in America or respects America.
But I don't know if that's true, though, because here's the thing. Because one of my roommate's friends who is from Ukraine was like, yeah, we love America. Like, we wanted to come here. Like, this place is better. Which to me is like, we have no idea. We have no idea truly in this country, you have no idea what a bad situation looks like.
Yeah.
We have, like, no real concept of... and that's what I'm worried about. And like with these, like, I guess, I think Gen Alpha is like the official term for like the next generation below us.
I think I've heard them.
The one thing I'm worried about with them is like, fuck, like not only do they have no concept of violence, they're completely desensitized to violence.
Yeah,
they've got nothing. And then on top of that is like, they're not going to have any, because I can't name you a single institution that I respect.
Yeah.
I mean, I can maybe name you one. I'm biased, and it's FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. I think they're pretty cool. I trust them. But outside of that, it's like there's not many anymore at this point that I actually trust or respect.
Yeah.
So where does that leave a college and a freshman in college in like 4 years?
Yeah, I mean,
in 5 years. Like, Jesus.
That's a really good point. And like,
what's their world gonna be?
It's difficult to predict, Sometimes I want to be optimistic, and I want to think that, like, our generation is going to be the one to fix things. And, like, when...
Okay, now we're back. We had camera... I don't even know what we were talking about.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah. I'm just worried about the children. I don't know what they're going to...
absolutely.
I don't know what they're going to do. We're going to have to teach them how to... Like, I don't know if you feel like this. I've always felt like media literacy classes are kind of a joke.
Yeah.
And they're not really, like, I get what they're trying to do, and I'm not saying to get rid of them.
Here's my thing, is, like, whenever I took media literacy, I was like, who could benefit from this class? My mom, my 35-year-old brothers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's who could benefit from a media literacy class, because someone who's, I feel like, our age, maybe this will change, with AI and, as, technology becomes, more sophisticated and advanced. But, like, if I see a fake headline, I know that's a fake headline. If I see something that is not factually correct in, like, an article or an Instagram post or something that seems off kilter and maybe I should look that up, I can identify that easily, because I feel like that's just how we were raised. And I think that this upcoming generation is probably going to be even more sophisticated at that and, identifying things that they should be literate about.
I hope so, because my thought is, like, the AI is going to get so ridiculous. You're going to have to be media savvy.
I mean, did you fucking see that Taylor Swift stuff?
No.
Well, people are making, like, very advanced deep fake images of, like, Taylor Swift in very compromising positions. And she is going to sue. And she's going to, and I think it's so fucking awful, because, like, seeing them, like, I saw a couple of them, and
Christ.
Like, they are, like...
But that's going to be the problem. That's why we have to regulate this shit, like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, we have to get something done, because the lawsuits that will come from the ability to just deepfake anybody doing anything you want are going to be crazy. It's going to be... maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but I feel like that could get out of hand really quick.
Yeah, and it's, like...
very fast.
I know that, like... people have a lot of, like, mixed stances on Taylor Swift, because, like, white feminism, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And while I agree with that to an extent, I don't think that Taylor Swift is, like, this incredible ultra heroine who has solved every single gender
I know. Why
issue.
Why do we treat these people like they're supposed to solve problems?
No. What I do think is that she is a human woman who has accomplished a lot and is incredibly successful.
Yes.
And I respect her.
That stuff's undeniable, I think.
That's how I feel about her. And I think that everyone could agree that, like, how horrific would it be to go online and see images like that of yourself?
Yeah, it's terrible.
That would ruin people's lives. Like,
yeah.
It's like so awful. And, like, I'm glad that she's seeking action, because I think that, like,
everybody
she has
should.
enough social... it sucks that it comes down to this, but she has enough social clout, I think, that like people will listen to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I guess that part of it is good. Like maybe we'll see some kind of like traction in terms of like legislation regarding AI.
Do we need to send Taylor Swift to the White House to give a speech about?
I feel like she's done that. Why do I feel like she's done that?
I don't know.
That sounds right.
Matthew McConaughey went to the White House one time, and he actually gave a speech that I actually thought it was pretty good for the most part. I mean, literally, this is like my thing in the year of our Lord 2024. If you give a speech and you're in politics and you don't demonize anybody, I'm like clapping for you.
Yeah.
If you just didn't call the other person like the most evil thing that's ever existed, I'll like clap.
Yeah.
That's how broken the thing is if you just go up there and like tell me that you have a vision and that you don't hate people for some arbitrary reason, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift should just go to maybe we should just start, maybe The Rock should run for president. Maybe he should throw the hat in now.
I saw that. Is that accurate? Is that happening? Or was that just like
it's not actually
little
happening.
Twitter thing?
He had briefly talked about like maybe I think Matthew McConaughey is his VP, and I think that's actually, I'm not even kidding.
Wait, really?
I'm dead serious. That would be interesting to put The Rock and Matthew McConaughey.
I mean,
just to see what they're about, because they're likable and they're not politicians, but they're also from Hollywood, and a lot of people really don't like celebrities from Hollywood.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I like look at the array of options, and I'm like, shit. Maybe we should just throw Dwayne Johnson in the.
That's what I'm saying.
Ring.
At this point, does anyone have anything better?
No, I don't think they do.
Nothing better. We'll send in Matthew McConaughey. Who else could run? Who would be good? I'm just gonna start throwing names. I mean, because at this point, because I'll say this, I would have picked Vivek over Trump, just because he's not 80 years old. And, and he said I don't like any of these people, but it's like I would have if I had to pick.
Did you see that the Young Turks guy is running?
Cenk?
Yeah.
Uyghur is running for president?
Yeah. Even though I'm pretty sure he was born in Turkey.
I mean, who's ready for another round of birth certificate bullshit?
Yeah, he said like that he was like prepared to defend his like right to run in court or whatever. But I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to vote for him.
No. And at this point, I think we should just have some fun with it. I think at this point, we should just start throwing in anyone. Like, let's just see if anyone can get some votes.
I think that's probably why he's running.
By Trump?
If I were to like.
Why Cenk? Why he's running? Yeah. He's not going to get in. No one knows who he is. No one knows who he is.
Me off though. I went on. I was reading some article. It was either in like the Washington Post or like the New York Times. It was like one of the big ones, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was like just like little profiles about like the people who are all running so far. And I was just like reading them because I like was just like, what are they saying? And I found I was kind of pissed off. They their bios for Nikki Haley versus Marianne Williamson were like drastically different. Like for Marianne Williamson, they were like, yeah, this loser who lost last
Wait, who was doing this?
It was. Let me find it.
Was it the New York Post? I would have thought that.
No, never mind. It's the Guardian. It's the.
Oh, well,
Guardian.
that's fine. The Guardian's a news source.
It is, but like, okay, so for like Nikki Haley's bio, they have like her political history, whatever. Haley is the daughter of Indian immigrants, and she'd be the first U.S. president of Asian descent, as well as the first female president.
So they're just selling. As I'm saying, I was telling Gav, Nikki Haley is just like, she's just the puppet of the Republican donor class. That's what she is.
Yeah, and then Marianne Williamson's bio, failed 2020 presidential candidate Marianne Williamson, who also unsuccessfully ran for a seat in the House of Representatives.
Oh no!
And then for her like accomplishments, they say Williamson, an author of self-help books. launched her long shot bid with campaign promises to address climate change, blah, blah, blah. She also previously worked as a, in quotation marks, spiritual leader of a Michigan Unity church. And I'm like, damn, they really made her sound like an asshole. Like, that's so mean. Like,
That's so good.
failed candidate.
And she,
Shit. Like, okay.
she failed twice.
But then for Nikki Haley, they were like, she might be the first female president, you guys. Like,
As long as Nikki Haley doesn't put up the post saying happy birthday to this future president. I mean, as long as she doesn't.
I'm not really a fan
Do
of Nikki
that.
Haley.
No, I don't like any of them. Do you like Biden?
That's another thing. You could take someone on the left is left and the right is right and ask them if they like Joe Biden. And I have a feeling they're all going to say no. And that's crazy. Nobody likes him. He's the president and nobody fucking likes him.
No.
Like, that's nuts.
Nobody likes him. I mean, so here's the thing. I've had friends that have made like the Biden sales pitch, and people like some of the policies that he's done. And I'm not even making a political statement. I'm just like, no one likes any of these people anymore.
Yeah.
No one likes any of them anymore.
And like, isn't that so interesting? And like,
Should we just bring Bush and Cheney back in?
I just think that
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just like throwing out names. Here's what I said. Like George Bush is like the same age. George Bush is younger than Trump and Biden. Can you imagine if George Bush came back to run again? And he'd fit right in with all the other guys now.
Yeah, Biden's the oldest president. 81.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it'd be hilarious if he came back. Like hypothetically, he came back and it'd be like he'd be the same age
As
everyone else.
Yeah, that's nuts. How do you feel about Robert F. Kennedy?
I think that
The
he's
stellar third-party candidate.
Well, I guess I'll
don't
start
like
off with what I like. I like that he. I like that he has a vision. I don't like all of his vision, but I appreciate that he has a vision because a lot of people don't. And he doesn't demonize anybody. He's not interested in the fighting. He doesn't seem interested in the culture war bullshit. So that I appreciate because that's just that. Here's what I think about him is like if we're gonna guess anyone in our society that is innately distrustful of the system, it's him. If anyone's allowed to be, it's him.
Okay, but I just think he's kind of like, I don't know. Like, do you remember like during like whenever he was talking about COVID, he was just like, yeah, during the COVID regulations, they turned our country into Hitler Germany.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't agree with him on. I think
No,
that he's
they didn't.
I
And nobody
think-
even followed the fucking procedures that were put into place.
Nobody
I
did.
mean, we were just talking about it.
I think that his take on I think his plans for how he's going to deal with medical institutions like the CDC and the WHO, how he's like full withdrawal, potentially get rid of them. Not a fan of that.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you were.
No.
Why?
No. Those institutions had a lot of sloppy miscommunication during COVID. I think they did some stuff wrong, but I don't think it's any reason to throw them in the garbage. I think that they made a couple mistakes in a time whenever people were already very distrustful.
Yeah.
And then so I understand where he's coming from, but I think his actual approaches to a lot of these things are just too extreme for what I would like to do.
Yeah, and I think that another problem is like, I know that there's a big issue going on in like Congress right now about there's this piece of legislation, I can't remember what it's called, but basically this like legislation states that like whenever there are certain issues happening, like issues that are very specific to certain like organizations, that they those decisions are made by those organizations. Like, for example, like COVID and like the CDC and stuff, or like space stuff and NASA or whatever.
The Space Force.
The Space Force.
Which I'm going to join.
Yeah.
I'm enlisting. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's
I'm
good.
going to be in the Space Force.
I'm good down here, you know? But basically, they want to undo that effectively, like kind of like Roe v. Wade. And they want it to be that Congress now makes all the decisions and that the board of members for those respective organizations don't like get a say in those matters, which I think is like really fucking problematic. Because it's like if you have these people who are specially trained and devote their lives to certain subject matters, like let's take environmentalism, for example, you know, I would trust those people over the people who are in the Senate and the House right now to make those kinds of choices. And I think
I would trust most people over the people in DC.
Yeah.
To make basic decisions, I would trust other people more.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that I don't agree with. I don't think you should outsource that stuff to the government. I mean, Gavin's an art. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this? You're like RFK.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to abolish these institutions. I think he wants to kind of like restructure these institutions to make them more trustable.
In what way? Do you know?
Because they don't.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I'm not here with all the facts right now.
No, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just wondered if you wanted to interject anything.
Put the headset on, sit down.
I don't think he is as extreme as you think he is. I think
That's possible.
he wants change to happen, but I don't think he wants to dismantle everything. He doesn't want to destroy it.
Yeah.
He wants to make them more reputable, and you want to trust these organizations again. You want to be able to trust your government.
Yeah, I think a plan to restore trust would be good. I would just have to, I guess, if that case, if he doesn't want to get rid of them, I would just have to see what the plan is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Before I make any comments.
I'm not a fan of him. I haven't like really went like knee deep into his policy, but like I just personally don't really care for him. But along the same vein, I don't really care for all of them. So, you know.
Yeah, which one do you care for?
I guess
I don't care for any of them. I care for.
I just don't even know.
What do I like? I know I like that guy. There's the one guy I follow on Instagram. He's a Democratic representative from North Carolina. His name is Jeff Jackson.
Is he the one who like posts a video every time something happens?
Yes, and he gives you an update.
Hey guys, this is me.
Yeah, he's cool.
I'm just your friend.
Yes,
you know?
that guy. I like him.
I think that fucking all representatives should do that. I think that they should all. Let's get more vlogs in Congress, guys. More vlogs in Congress.
So essentially what we're saying is that the diagnosis for the problem is that not enough of them are social media brands.
Yeah.
They all need to be, can we get, as long as they're all on LinkedIn, they all need to be on LinkedIn.
Comment, and subscribe. You know?
Can you imagine if who's the speaker, Mike Johnson, was like, yo, sub, like in the middle of the House floor doing a vlog.
I'd trust that more.
Vlog.
That would be more trustworthy, in my opinion.
I think they all should. I think they should all start TikTok accounts. Could they make enough money off TikTok to offset the national deficit?
They might. The Creator Fund. It's lucrative. TikTok Shop.
Is that how we beat China?
Hey guys, I got my gavel.
China with their own weapon.
Yeah, I got my gavel from TikTok Shop, just $4. Yeah. Link down below. I got it in 3 colors because it's such a good deal. Use my code to save 50%.
That would be good. I think they should all start doing that.
Mm-hmm. TikTok Shop. I have a bone to fucking pick with that shit.
I've never been on TikTok.
Oh, ever?
Mm-mm.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
TikTok now is like all branded stuff. Like it used to be like 70-30 normal stuff to branded stuff. Now it's like 70-30 the other way. I'd go as far as to say. Because like now that they have this thing called the TikTok Shop, it's like in a different tab. Now it's like every 3 videos there's like your standard sponsored video. And then every 3 videos after that, they have like people being like, this camisole was only $3.
Oh, Instagram's the same way.
They're
always trying to sell you something.
It didn't used to be like that, though, I don't think. I mean, I used to have an anime TikTok. It kind of popped off back in 2020. That's true. I had 160,000 followers.
Whoa.
And then I stopped. You want to know why? Because I came to college and I met real people who I could speak with. And then I didn't feel the need to talk into my phone all the time.
Well, there you go.
Did I probably miss out on money?
You absolutely did. Listen, my favorite thing I've ever seen come from TikTok are the TikTok lives done by political creators, where the screen will just be like there'll be 2 people on a live. One half of the screen is like Team Trump and then Team Obama, and then then there's these 2 like frat dudes that are also political dancing like it's a green screen, and then there are just emojis flying all over the screen, and money's popping up, and people are like, yeah, I made $5,000 tonight off of the Team Trumpers, the team of Biden thing, and it's like, what the fuck is going on
It's
anymore?
literally fucking.
It's just theater. It's theater. We've turned American capitalism is officially. It's officially come full circle, because now all the Gen Z, which like the Gen Z political, I don't mean to hate on my own generation, but the Gen Z sort of political content creator
Yeah.
that just focuses on culture war stuff is my least favorite archetype of person.
Yeah, absolutely.
My
I
least
agree with
favorite.
that.
'Cause to me, it's like, can we for a moment acknowledge that you're participating in the system that you claim to like not like?
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's also kind of like a problem that I have with Mr. DeBille, is that I feel like a lot of his content is like rage bait. Like, I feel like some of the stuff he posts is like just rage bait. Like, this is gonna piss off the libs, and then people click
Yeah, he
on,
does.
and then
he
people
does.
click on his stuff.
He does do that sometimes.
So
and
that
stuff
they will
does.
drop the hate comments, and then when they drop the hate comments, the algorithm doesn't know it's a hate comment, and it pushes the content, and so he gets some more impressions, he gets some more engagement, and it makes him look like he's doing really well, actually. And so Instagram's gonna push his next post a little bit more. Like, I know the game that's being played.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's not good at that. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not good at that. He's doing a good job at that, because so many people know him because they don't like him. And in that way, he's a successful media figure. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, think about Andrew Tate. Like, everybody fucking hates Andrew Tate, but everybody knows who he is. And, you know, some people have that perspective where it's like, all press is good press. As long as people are saying my name, it doesn't matter what comes before or after it, because they know my name. You know? And
he has kind of built, and I don't know if I hope he's trying to get away from this. And I could be wrong with this assessment, but it does kind of seem like he became popular off of the back of people not liking him. Is kind of how he became. So, and I agree with you. I have I'll engage with them. He's my friend, but
yeah, whatever. I'm not asking you to like shit on
no,
him.
no, of course not. But I was saying, like, but I do kind of agree with you, like that. Sometimes I do get a little bothered by the fact that and again, like, that's the path he's chosen. He's making a lot of money, so I'm not even going to tell him to stop doing it.
Yeah.
But my thought is, like, you are kind of sort of profiting off of the exact system that you are railing against. And you're kind of creating an endless loop of making people angry, make money, get engagement, make them more angry. And then people wonder why things got so crazy in the last 7 years, because everyone decided
everyone's doing that.
like, it was like everyone decided that we were just going to not de-escalate. No one focused on de-escalation.
And I almost feel like he came to Point Park on purpose, because of how notoriously liberal of an institution Point Park is. Because here's the thing. Part of his brand is super far-right kid who made it through the trials and tribulations of going to a liberal college. You know, they're all the odds stacked against him. He still used his voice, even in a place where voices like his never get heard. And I think that's why a lot of the bigger media deals and, you know, media appearances that he had kind of came from, like, whenever he went on, what's her fucking
Laura
name?
Ingraham.
The Ingram Angle. Whenever he went on the Ingram Angle and talked about
Is that seriously what
the
the show
gender
is
policy,
called?
I'm almost positive.
Is that what? Can we get a Google on that, please? That's what it's called.
It's called the Ingram Angle.
I mean, pause for a moment. I mean, Fox. I mean, you want to talk about a company that just knows how to, they know exactly what they're doing, by the way. Make no mistake. They know exactly what they're doing. What is this? The Bill O'Reilly factor, the no spin zone. That guy tried to get his wife excommunicated from the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Did no one remember that?
I forgot about that actually until you just said it.
For how many years, and I wasn't politically conscious, but for how many years were people like, Bill's, he's the guy, and it's like he tried to get his wife put in hell. Like,
yeah, no.
Put
in hell is crazy.
The Ingram angle. But so I will say this.
No, but listen, he would have never gotten on the Ingram angle if he went to a school that people with his political ideologies typically go to. Like if he went to even if he went to like Pitt, even if he went to like maybe like Duquesne or something.
Well, he reports on a lot of stuff at Pitt at this point.
Yeah, he does. But like I feel
But he also
like
has friends there.
his niche and his shtick that he had whenever he was going to school here was, I'm a conservative who goes to Point Park. And I mean, it kind of worked. I mean, you know, like, I don't know. That's just what I think. I think that like nobody would really know who he was if he didn't go here.
And that's entirely possible. I guess a couple things. I wouldn't say, and again, this is just a perspective, difference. But I wouldn't say that he's. I wouldn't say that he is. The only reason why I would say that he's not as far right as maybe as you think is that sometimes he'll say something and I'll be like, what about this? And he goes, oh, that's actually a good point. I didn't think of that. And then he'll like adjust his position a little bit. So I don't think he's, and I haven't talked to him about this. I don't personally want to believe that he picked Point Park just to start a fight. Although I think you're correct. That is kind of what his brand has become, is he's fighting something. But I'm not sure if he picked Point Park. And I don't really want to go on about this for too much longer. But But I don't know if he picked Point Park. I'd like to not believe that. I guess that's what.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I'd like to not believe that he picked Point Park, knowing that there would be a fight.
Yeah, no. I mean, whatever. You know, that's just what I think, and I'm not gonna say gonna say that that's like the truth or that that's confirmed or whatever. I just like, I only think that because like, as somebody who does like marketing for a living, like that's a selling. So
you're looking at it from that angle.
Yeah, like I'm looking at it from like a branding kind of angle, like that makes you stand out. You know, being one of the only conservative people at a notoriously liberal school.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, makes you kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
No, it does, and I think that.
Same thing, vice versa. I mean, you know. Like,
yeah, I guess.
Imagine going to like one of those. What's the one in Utah? It's like it has like a lot of Mormon people in it.
Oh, Bingham Young.
Yeah, like imagine.
That's not in. Is that in Utah? Huh?
BYU.
Yeah, BYU.
Yeah, like imagine if like somebody who is, you know, maybe like alt-left, non-binary, in a polycule. Like, imagine, like, someone like that went to that school. Every single person in that school would know that person's name.
It'd be the same situation. Yeah, I'm worried. And I don't know if you've ever gotten this impression, but I'm worried that... I guess not worried anymore. I feel like a lot of people kind of... when people think of like a conservative on campus, he's always the person people think of.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
Probably not a good thing. and to be fair to him, like I do personally think the university should do more to, I don't want to say create a balance, because I don't think it should always be 50-50. But personally, I've heard very few conservative voices on campus, if any, like at all.
Well, because it's like.
But also, Point Park isn't really advertising to those kinds of people, unless they're in the School of Business, which in that case, they might be.
Like I said, like, everybody picks where they go to college, you know, unless you're like a legacy or you have some kind of random exception to the rule. Like, everybody picks where they go to school, you know? And so it's like kind of, the onus is kind of on you to look at the environment of that school and make a personal judgment about whether or not that would be a good fit for your values and your persona and your whatever.
And that's true, but here's a pushback against, was Point Park exactly what you were sold?
Not really. Not really exactly what I was sold, especially because I switched over to multimedia, and it's not really too relevant to me now, but, like, it was, like, presented to me as, like, the most cutting-edge journalism program, like, ever known to man. And, like, at least the classes that I took, like, my freshman year, like, I was like, holy shit, like, this sucks. I was like, this genuinely is, like, it's nothing like what I was told. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm doing, for my, like, journalism 101 class, I'm, like, learning about, like, VHS. I'm learning about, like, old stuff, like, that is not relevant at all to today. I'm doing vocab work, you know?
Yeah. I think we were both in multimedia as well.
Yeah.
And then we both got out of there. Yeah, I think that there is maybe too much of a focus on the history of mass communication. I understand it's important.
Yeah.
Like, why am I a junior in an intro to broadcasting class that's a lecture class where I learn for the 4th time about the history of radio?
Yeah, I'm kind of pissed off because my capstone class, I was under the impression that your capstone class is, like, kind of like a DIY. You, like, find a project that fits under certain criteria and you spend X amount of hours executing that project or creating it or whatever.
Yeah.
Why am I answering discussion questions about Wall Street Journal articles in my capstone class?
Oh, I do love that, though, because the Wall Street Journal is just, like, very casually preparing everybody for the apocalypse. If you read their articles, there's always a spin. There's always a spin that, like, everything's fucked and it's gonna be awesome. Like, it's always their spin. It's like they are just slowly preparing people for the apocalypse that they are going to bring about.
Yeah, but it's like this is my last year, one of my last classes. Why am I making commentary about TED Talks? Like, what's going on? Like, I thought that this class was supposed to be, like, to do, like, something big that I could put in my portfolio, which we are also doing that, but, like, I'm just really mad about it because my, like, my roommate, her capstone was, like, granted she was interdisciplinary, so hers was kind of like a DIY sort of capstone.
Yeah.
But, like, she put together, like, a fundraiser for a local animal rescue, and she, like, organized the whole event and, like, had everyone there, and then she had to, like, document her process, and that was the class. But I have to sit down in a 3-hour 2:40 to 5:40.
Oh, that's
the worst time of day, the middle of your day.
I mean, 6 to 9s are terrible because it's the end of the day, but 2:40 to 5:40 is
the
just
middle of your day, dude.
It's terrible.
Like, why?
Terrible.
Why? And, like, I don't know. No, Point Park is not exactly how it was sold to me. And I do think that they put a lot of their money into COPA, which I think is, like, something that, you know, I feel like I kind of really respect and think that Mark Palumbo was a really good choice for SGA president because he is an acting major and he's trying to, like, bridge that gap or whatever, because that gap exists. Like, there's every other, like, it isn't like there's the school business kids and the comm kids and the whatever kids and COPA. It's like COPA, the other majors. COPA, the other. That's how everything is structured.
The only other one that I would say is there's, like, COPA, and then there's the media kids, and then there is.
Yeah, and that's only because we, like, do the same clubs. You know?
But even then, there is no other distinction.
Yeah,
when you meet, like, cinema kids in your brain, do you consider them COPA?
I don't know, because one of my best buddies, Cole, he's a cinema kid. Cole Schultes. I don't know if you know him.
Name doesn't ring a bell.
He does UView. He does Daybreak with me. He's my co-producer.
Cole.
And he does all
I know
the
a lot
hard
of
stuff.
UV people. I don't think
Thank you for doing all the hard stuff, Cole. He's like a real tech whiz. And but aside from him, I would kind of consider them COPA, which is, like, interesting. And like for instance, speaking of the cinema kids, there is an entire lab in West Penn that only cinema majors are allowed to use, and they're, like, these giant screen, like, advanced Macs with, like, all of this software on them, and, like, if like literally there were people who like there was one time, like, Cole literally had to, like, give someone his ID number, I'm pretty sure, so they could make sure that he was in COPA using those computers. That's so dumb. Like, why do certain majors have access to certain things that other students don't have access to? Like, that's dumb. You know? That's how I
mean,
feel.
I guess I understand obviously, like, we don't need to go into the physics lab.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to...
yeah, like what
Yeah.
prohibits you from doing that?
I guess
know?
just breaking the equipment if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah, but it's like, how's a comm major gonna break a computer? Probably not. They're probably not.
I've come close to like managing to break things without even meaning to, so
Okay.
it might. But,
Okay, but
no,
you know what I'm saying.
I guess my only
basically.
position is like I may be a little bit biased because I'm like the esports room is only available to people at esports.
Mm-hmm.
I personally do not want it open to the entire student body because
Okay.
if we have to go in there and shoot content, I don't want people playing Fortnite on behind us.
Yeah,
Like while we're recording.
I get that.
But I do see your point that like you know, a lot of the equipment at the university they're having us use is also not up to date.
Yeah, no. Like, have you ever like been inside like the student center? Like, I know they're like remodeling the student center right now, I think.
They're remodeling another thing? Oh no, that's right, the student center.
Yeah, the
I was
student
thinking of UC. I don't know why. I was
Yeah.
thinking of the library.
Yeah, they're like remodeling the student center, but like the student center is like kind of like ass before. Like that's where like, and the student center is supposed to be like a hub where all the students are supposed to like go and like do activities and things. But like nobody really ever uses it except for people who want to use the gym. Like that's like really the only reason why somebody
Esports
would
is
be,
in there.
Yeah, esports.
So I use it, yeah.
Esports, okay. But like
But you're right, it's not. But it also doesn't help. The location is also unhelpful.
the location's unhelpful. The fact that like
It should be in the middle, and I mean the middle of Wood Street and Boulevard of the Allies.
yeah.
Just make tunnels going under the building so that people can still drive through it, or don't, or just block the entire road. I'm also okay with that.
Yeah, I mean
And that way it's in the middle of campus.
yeah, Point Park, like, I know that their, like, major selling point is, like, downtown is our campus. But that's
It's not,
that's
though.
just a nice way, that's a markety way of saying we don't have a campus.
This is the thing I have to
like-
say. This whole thing, Pittsburgh is our campus, enough. Because
Yeah.
genuinely it's not. Because unless you have money, you can't go anywhere and do anything downtown because everything is a restaurant or
Yeah.
it's a store that is selling you something that you don't really need.
Yeah, and it's, like, we don't even have that many, like, partnerships with downtown businesses. Like, if you take a look at Oakland, like, granted, I know Pitt has a much larger budget and notoriety and stuff
This
in
is
comparison
true.
to Point Park. But it's like if you go to the Panera Bread in Oakland, you could use your dining hall points to get Panera Bread.
Yeah.
You could use your dining hall
Yeah.
points to get. I think you could get them at like Raising Cane's or like.
There should
some
be
of the
dining hall
sushi
points for
places.
Market Square.
Yeah, there should be. You know what I mean? Like we should have at least like a couple of places outside of our like tiny little dining hall that we're able to use those, you know, food credits or whatever for. Like I know people who have like it'll be the end of the semester and they'll be like, I have like $80 of flex left because I don't want any of the junk food that's in the cafe. So I
You
have
don't
like,
want the $9 pack of Oreos? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
$9 pack of Oreos. That's a steal.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's weird.
I do like this new where it all comes together. I do like this new messaging. This is where it all comes together.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
it.
so. I
Yeah.
think so. And it's my profile picture on Instagram. I changed it. Because they put me all over the broadcasting ads for like a month.
Oh,
I'm telling you, all I do is like voice my complaints about the university on this show, and they're like, put that guy in the front of all the broadcasting ads. So then
That's
I
how
just
you know
made
they
it
don't
my
watch
profile
it.
picture. That's how I know I tried to make myself into a villain just for fun.
Yeah.
Just to like build lore, just to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have a story, and I can't apparently. I've tried, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that's why my next guest has to be Hunter Biden, because I need someone to pay attention to something we fucking do over here. All the people I want to pay attention, they don't care.
Yeah. well,
Whatever
I
we
think you
do,
could
they
make it
just don't.
happen. I think you could make it
So we need somebody in here. We need a person that has a platform already,
Yeah.
so that somebody will pay attention to what we do.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah. I think that's a good plan.
It's a good place to wrap.
Yeah,
Okay. Plug all your stuff. Anything you have going on you want people to check out.
So.
This is your time.
God. All right. So, follow me on Instagram, sam.hindman. That's me. And,
You do like, Is it like you people take picture? You're in pictures a lot.
Yeah,
Is that
so-
like modeling for your photography friends essentially? or-
Yeah, basically. So
Okay.
I kind of lucked out. I one time I wanted to get some headshots done for like LinkedIn and other things, and this guy named Vondre Clark. I did a photo shoot with him, and then he posted about doing like a group photo shoot at this place called Opia Studios over in the South Side. I went to that, and then I met a bunch of girls who like model regularly. Like one of my best friends now, her name is Lexi, beautiful girl. And she is also very talented. She's a singer. I digress. But I met her, I met a bunch of people, and then slowly but surely, like a bunch of like local photographers reached out to me and was like, hey, you want to shoot sometime? Hey, you want to shoot sometime? And then I just did. And so I like kind of accidentally started modeling as like a fun side thing. I don't make any money from it or anything. I'm 5'1", so that career isn't gonna happen for Sam. But yeah, I'm doing $50 LinkedIn audits right now. So if you want to get your LinkedIn game up, message me.
I might pay for an audit just
You
because I think
should.
that would be fun. That would be if you just tore my LinkedIn by it, that'd be cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay, I might have to pay for it.
I'm doing audits right now. So let me know if you want to elevate your LinkedIn game and check out my LinkedIn. Connect with me. Always looking for new connections. And yeah, if you need anybody to write anything for you, social media posts, blog posts, whatever, I'm a freelance writer. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you for coming. It was fun.
Yeah, this was
Do it
awesome.
again.
I had a great time. I've never been on a podcast before.
First podcast.
First podcast.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.